Take two, we reviewed the news from the past 2 weeks on this week's episode of the Indie Bar Report podcast. Episode 344 of the Indie Bar Report podcast, a show that will present you with leftovers as though it's a fresh new meal. Isn't that right, Ryan?
Whatever, Nick. Billy Horton, I'm speaking directly to you. I just got a fat stack of awesome information about attendance. It won't be this week, but I'm going to just threaten to hold it over your head for a while. That's what you get for speaking up about the quality of our ADHD rants into attendance. What are you talking about, Nick? What stupid crap are you bringing up? Excited to see where Billy ends up next year. Billy's a dog. Love that.
I am now so excited to see where Billy winds up
Any
at.
dude
There's
who
opening.
just like had the random Pioneer League success he did in like wild situation. We're going to need to, there will be a video about the 12th team situation out there because they were team number 12 for so long that I think it might be engraved on the rings. Don't quote me on that.
Oh, please. I hope.
Bro, I'm going to do one. It's so good. But anyway, yeah. That the drama in that, the redemption story of Oakland is good, but the drama story of YOLO last year is crazy. So, yeah.
I actively look forward to Long Beach Parrots manager Billy Horton joining us come like February.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's happening.
Just please don't go to Chicago.
I don't know. I wouldn't. I mean, I'm down for anywhere. Dude, if anyone's going to be able to deal with a situation like that, if we're honest.
Take the money, but you're going to be getting abused. Shouldn't say that word, but you are going to be spoken to in a rather stern tone that some would call inappropriate for the workplace.
We're going to have to do a coaching carousel episode before it's too late. Carousel is going to be the name of that episode for sure. We should definitely do it. I will be transparent that I've been a little hesitant on posting. I've been stashing content because I'm afraid to post certain things, even awards, while I'm potentially still sniffing around jobs. But
Coward.
We should. I am because it's cost me once before, and I'm not going to go down that road again. But we should do one because if we're honest, it is an interesting market. I mean, what Hagerstown's available, Chicago's available, Jersey's available. There's like multiple, presumably Pioneer League California teams.
Streets are saying there's a couple other jobs that are out there too in the frontier.
Streets are saying there is probably a Great Falls job because I don't think anybody wants to deal with that at this point. Cleburne is still rumored, but they still have not made an announcement. They'll probably make an announcement once they already have somebody because that's kind of how they do business over there. Not state, I get it.
Just another one in the Chicago area that's rumored.
Is that Windy City? And
that wasn't the one I was talking about.
That was the one I was talking about. Which I could be wrong on. It's just that nobody's really talked about them. There's ownership switchover seems really be taking effect over there.
You can never slam the door on anything.
Yeah. How'd that report card grade turn out?
Bing.
Honestly, I don't fault him a bit. I think it's a difficult position, and he did what he had to, and he did what he could, and also he really unfortunate timing because I think it's a tough division to operate in too. So it's like, well, kind of got cooked on that one.
Clearly, the problem was they lost Shep. That was the real casualty,
dude. I mean, if we're honest, Shep kind of cooks. Like, I mean, if we're real, if we're looking at the step up too that the Frontier League has made recently and how much they solidified this year, like. Kind of hard to ignore.
Hey,
I mean, because if you're Joliet, also like you didn't. I'm so sorry. This is such an ADD start to the episode, but thank you for hanging with us here because I do want to dunk this point home. Joliet,
Ryan's back.
Sure, they went last place. Oh, dude, I'm hyped to talk ball. They went last place last year, but they go into this year thinking, okay, Windy City's down. Evansville's down. Florence is down. Schaumburg was like good, but like approachable. So like, let's start to attack this. And Lake Erie was also down the bottom half of the cut line. And then they go, oh wait, we're doing division realignment. Who we got? Schaumburg, ouch. Gateway, ouch. Mississippi should suck. No, Mississippi goes over 500. You're like, oh, okay. That sucks, dude.
They cashed in on all their luck once they let the guy with the 6 sneakers and the arancini walk out the door to go manage the league.
Facts. Talk about dream jobs. I've said that before. I'll say it again. This will come up later. I'm working on some piece of content. I'm going to start it and I'm going to decide if it sees light of day. I didn't want you to jump on it because I wanted to get ahead with I don't know if this will. Usually I'll say I'm doing content and it may or may not. This one I'm getting ahead and going, I'm not sure it's going to see the light of day. I want to see how it is first, but it involves, basically restarting some baseball leagues, coming up with some new names on things. And as I said, this will come up later as we're naming baseball teams. But, yeah, Joliet, the first thing I did was rename that team. Good Lord. I don't know what to name that team, but the Slammers ain't the move. I can't imagine.
Keep the same vibe. Call them the Yardbirds.
Call them anything. The Blues is there. That's fine. Do that.
The hockey team by that name.
Who cares?
One's in Chicago, the other's in St. Louis, and they really don't get along.
Juliet's not in Chicago. Don't give them that. Jack, my wife's family lived in that area. They've only ever described Joliet as rural.
The greater Chicago area really does not like this show. Getting us back on track.
What was the track?
We're boarding on track 2 because we're redoing a little bit last week. So obviously there was a solo show last week because someone decided to gallivant out in the woods.
Sorry, I lost track of days.
We'll buy him a calendar. That resulted in a solo show, which was probably not great. And
that was good.
It wasn't great. But anywho, we had a lot of interesting stuff, and there really isn't all that much that's interesting this week. So I figure, what the hell? We'll get some discussion points on all this, being that we don't really have to recap any of the news stories, because if you're interested, there's like a 20-minute pod you can listen to that gives you a general overview of what goes into each of the news bits. So we're going to run through that real quick. Then we're going to talk about the Fargo Moorhead Redhawks hiring, or I guess signing, which is really hiring when you get down to it, a guy that's currently banned from Major League Baseball for betting on baseball, and the fact that George Samus got a 3-year extension, which is probably the most predictable extension we've seen in some time. Mm-hmm. But anywho, starting with the Frontier League schedule, because we got a schedule. Y'all know it. Refresh yourself with the last episode if you listen to this. 102 games, though. They got an extra 6 games in there. And from what I recall last week, I had said that's an interesting decision, given where most of these markets are. And you're either going to add games in May, when it's still hard for people to attend because of work and school, or you're going to add games at the end when it gets cold and you're fighting football. 3 layers of football: high school, college, and professional. Which just makes it feel like it's hard to sell tickets.
I don't think it's that big of an issue, frankly. You can only extend one way, which is earlier. That's not true. Frontier League could extend later.
It'd be dumb, but they could do it.
No, I don't think it's that dumb, honestly. Well, when did their championship happen this year? When did Quebec win?
End of September.
End of September. Yeah. Okay. So we're around the same. Okay. When I say could go later, we're talking like a week, right? You could, I'm saying you could split the, if you're worried about going earlier in a market that involves Quebec, right? You could go 3 earlier, 3 later, split the difference, whatever. And I think this will move around depending on like where maybe advisable opening days fall within the week. But
I mean, the problem is it's not just Quebec. It's Quebec, it's Three Rivers, it's Ottawa, it's everything near Chicago. It's Lake Erie, it's probably Washington.
Sure. I agree with this. And it is worth reminding people that we have previously talked, and I don't care. It's been years. So I'm going to talk about it. I was on with a group who was looking to start a new team in indie ball. The available options really that had the mix of everything we needed was essentially in New England. And the biggest issue was, I mean, there were a couple of leagues that wouldn't even take a chance on it, despite the fact that we had money, we had the backing, we had the town. There were leagues where like, we don't think, and think about some of the markets that these leagues have gone to that were like, we are not confident in New England working because you're going to basically punt a month out of the season. And then there were, I've talked to other owners about similar markets because I was like, well, let's see if there's any other. And everybody else said that too. They said, dude, you're punting a month. And I agree completely. So yes, I'm with you there. But that said, I mean, the Frontier League's obviously not afraid of that. So I don't know how much a few days will affect it. I think that could be a little overblown. Especially if you're adding 6 games, you're adding only 3 more home games realistically. So there's that. I think, is it necessary? I think it's a weird, I just
think that in a time where we see attendance trending the wrong way for most teams and heading towards a greater situation economically, which probably is not going to produce more discretionary income to be spent on luxuries like that, saying, you know what we're going to do? We're going to raise our expenses at a time when people probably aren't going to want to spend money being here.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, I got a couple issues here. I'm going to touch on the one because it's such a bigger issue, but you did bring it up, so I'll bring it up. Number one issue is I think the Atlantic League perhaps is the only league that I see. I don't think it's a conscious effort. I think it might be market by market, but seems to be doing some preparation for economic trouble. I think a large part of that is a lot of the same people who have been in the Atlantic League through 2008 and even like late 90s and some weirdness that happened there. They're still there. They're hanging around. And I think that's part of it. And I worry about some of the other leagues, Frontier League somewhat with the recent big expansions and still trying to solidify markets while there's potential turmoil around the corner. And then the Pioneer League, of course, being its own thing. That's one. My other big issue, and it's a big one, and I know there's nothing you're going to do about it, but whatever, is I do hate that 102 games does allow for because it's 102 is where they landed on. If my math is correct. Right?
Yeah, it's
102. I mean, it allows for you to play exactly 2 3-game series against every team in the league. And I want it. I want it badly. And I know why you can't do it because logistically it's stupid and it causes a lot of travel. But guess what? You made that footprint. You live in that footprint. Okay. But I want it so badly. And I get it. I'm just verbalizing it as somebody who understands it's not realistic. It's like when we talk about we really want all the leagues to play each other. I know. But wouldn't it feel so good? Every team plays the other team for 3 games at their home field and 3 games on the road. Oh, inject it into my veins, dude. It would be the best schedule in professional baseball. From a concept perspective, execution wise, it will be bad. But I mean, so is a lot of things happen in indie ball, right?
I mean, yeah, rain is really going to be the enemy, won't it? And
neither here nor there.
The other issue is, that would give the stat boys way too even of a field to come up with fancy stats for, and I can't have that.
Dude.
I can't have that ruining my beautiful game.
I need it. I'd be freaking out like Professor Frink in The Simpsons. It'd be amazing.
Me and 80% of the guys managing these teams cannot have those fancy stats anywhere near our beautiful sport.
I know, they'll die. Yeah, I mean...
And I'm in lockstep with them. Keep the numbers away from my baseball.
Gross. I mean, I think, is there a divide? Do they explain the divide? I've heard some logic from some people, but I also tested the math they gave me and it didn't really check out the way they explained it. Having 2 divisions with 2 different sizes per league is a problem. So there is all that. There was a way, if I remember right, I did this. 102 was rumored for a while, so I did actually check out the math at one point, and it did. There was a way to do it. It's not the way I don't think they executed on it, but I don't hate it. It is a funny little flex to be like you have more games than the American. I don't know if that wasn't the point. I don't think. That's
It'd be a very weird one.
Yeah, I trust the people who talk to me enough to have admitted to that because they've admitted to worse. So that's kind of where that I will say it was not Shep who was kind of giving me that kind of info, but I just think it was very, I don't know. I get that there was a schedule rounding that happened here, and I wish I could off the top of my head explain why the math worked a little better. And I don't necessarily even know that 3 extra openings is what any team needs or wants, but I don't know. And at times I wonder too, I mean, I'm not even going to get into it. I guess that sometimes I wonder it would be an interesting little experiment what if they expanded the season by 6 days and not 6 games? And I wonder how it would affect them having the extra off days sprinkled throughout. If that would occasionally help people, especially with longer bus rides. Like, Quebec's longest bus ride, they have a 2-dayer. After that, it wouldn't be the worst deal.
Yeah, I think it also would help get away from some troubling midweek dates.
Yes, I agree. It would be nice midsummer to burn a couple Wednesday nights out.
That, and, it's nice to know that you can give those guys that have thrown a bunch of innings an extra day off and not have to worry about trying to find a pitcher on short notice in Kinston, North Carolina.
And to lock that in, because that's a point I actually really believe in. I think sometimes we get a little dug in indie ball in the mentality of this has to replicate Major League Baseball quite a bit. And that's why, in a way, I'm really been endorsing the way the Atlantic League has been making decisions lately. And the Pioneer League does it too. I'm not going to gloss over that, but the way that the Atlantic League really has switched to the 6th game, I'm like, hey man, like that's fine. And I know some of that's probably because minor league ball does it too, and they love being compared to minor league ball, but I like that they were comfortable getting away. And I think we get a little stuck in the mud sometimes, I think, in indie ball and don't find the most creative solution possible until all of a sudden we don't have a team and we do a travel team. And it's like, all right, that's embarrassing. Stop doing this. So I guess to bring it home, I think it would be a good selling point for a league at times from a player perspective to say, hey, we have a couple extra off days. And because of that, we don't need to do the roster shuffles that we sometimes do, moving you to the inactive list and the active list. And, you won't be asked to maybe go a couple times a year, won't be asked to go in a situation where maybe you're not comfortable or maybe it's not your best night because you just went. I think that's something. And in indie ball where it is generally getting increasingly tight on the difference between leagues if you're a player, for the bulk of players. I think that's an interesting angle for maybe someone to investigate at some point. I will go on the record of I think the Atlantic League is playing too many games right now, if I'm honest.
Yeah, no, they are.
I think they should probably, I think 120 is close to the number. I know 126. Oh, it's only 1 week. And I just said it's only 1 week when they expanded by 6 games on the Frontier, but expanding from 96 to 102 versus 120 to 126 is a different energy. It is the difference between 20 to 25 starts and 30 starts, which is damn near Major League season. So and these guys are also trying to play winter ball after, a lot of them. So it's just, I think sometimes they're asking a little much, and I think it's worth considering potentially for every league. I think every league could afford to maybe drop 6 games and 6 games, but keep the days, if you will.
Final thought before we move to Banana Ball, thoughts on the All-Star game in Florence.
You want to go with me?
Potentially.
I'm going, for sure. I love Kentucky, me.
Hitting that for now. We'll come back to that.
Cool. I think I have loose relationships with Florence, good ones with some people in Lexington. I think we could have a really fun time. Okay. I think Jackie's down too, so it could be a whole shit show. I mean, poop show.
Shit
show.
Banana Ball. We're going to Banana Ball. This podcast
getting better. Feel free to. You're going to need to timestamp this for some people.
Oh, it gets timestamped every week in the show notes. They're on the website. Boy.
Yes, they do.
So if you want to jump around, just literally go to the website, go to show notes, go to the bottom of the page. That's the most recent one.
And you can skip it because it's not real baseball, and we get that. Where no one's saying it is.
Yeah, people are going to love this. Like I said last week, Banana Ball 2026 lineup has been announced. 12 indie ball games. We have 2 in Fargo, 1 in Lincoln, 3 in Billings, 3 in Sioux Falls, 3 in Lexington. Lottery is open until Halloween. So, yeah, I put in for one of the ones at in Lakewood. So,
pull the schedule. Oh, there's a joke there. It's fine.
I bet there is.
If you're in a market, be aware you will not be getting the bananas. You'll be getting banana ball. That said, I have fun with it. In fact, you're going to see some indie ball legends. If you're seeing the party animals, you're seeing Jake Skull, Triple Crown winner in banana ball last year. Absolute Hall of Famer on the banana ball field. And frankly, could have been on the indie ball field too, but he took that bag and I don't blame him for it. They just did a post specifically about their smallest ballparks, and I did catch it. Sioux Falls and Billings were the 2 smallest ones on the entire tour, which is sick. They got specific shout-outs at the end, so they probably got at least some views, maybe some interaction on that one, hopefully. If you are listening from one of their marketing departments and did not catch it, go repost it. Thank you. I know, there's nothing to learn from Banana Ball. Guys, there's plenty to learn from Banana Ball off the field, I promise you. We're not saying that they should be dancing on the field. No one's saying it. But you should at the very least be interested in Banana Ball from the perspective, if nothing else, of they're stealing your players, because your players would rather go there because they pay money. So maybe pay attention. Maybe keep the boys away from Banana Ball. Make them show you their DMs every now and again. Actually, not all of them. Some DMs are terrible.
I just want to point out, noted libertarian Ryan just said, demand to see their papers every now and then.
I mean, at this point, if we're talking about the good of the game and we're
for the good of the state, let me see
ball,
that phone of yours.
I mean, right? Essentially. Just saying,
Ryan,
man, if you're
Pro Patriot indie ball version.
Oof, gross.
Tough take.
Ugh. Anyway.
That's not what he's advocating for.
Can I say, I'm disappointed by indie ball's turnout here. I think it's bad work. I think I genuinely feel that far more indie ball teams should have been there than affiliated ballparks. Just not in number, maybe in percentage or whatever. I just feel like the ease of schedule movement and flexibility compared to what affiliate teams are dealing with is so much better. And the fact that they couldn't,
yes,
and I get.
And no. I would say, here's the thing. The lack of Atlantic League ballparks is more interesting to me than anything.
Kind of crazy.
Only Lexington.
The fact they're not Hagerstown's weird.
Hagerstown, I thought was going to be a lock.
Because
I figured Staten Island would be in there too.
They're going to Richmond. New ballpark makes sense. They're going to do another one. There is a Maryland park that they're stopping at. Is it Bowie?
I know what you're talking about. Bowie, yeah.
They're in Bowie.
Oh, it's Bowie.
Bro,
Bowie.
Hagerstown makes Bowie seem homeless. I know Bowie just got upgrades, but like Hagerstown's ballpark's so nice. It would have been so cool. I get it's small. I'm sure there is a number they're not going to go to, but they're going to Billings. Calm down. Yeah, they're going to college ballparks. They're going to Lexington. Sorry, they are going to Lexington. Sorry, Lexington. They're going to Lexington. Which is fun. It might be the first sellout in Lexington in a decade.
I'm still not that surprised they're choosing affiliated over. Because keep in mind, if you're doing the 6-week thing, every other week you have an option. See, the park is yours for a week to do whatever you got to do beforehand.
Yeah, I guess. I would have liked a little more creativity in the way of, and I get that Banana Ball is going to show up with terms, but especially if we're not looking at the actual bananas showing up, we're talking about the firefighters or the coconuts or the clowns, right? Like tailgaters maybe, but
party animals.
Like the fact that Fleaburn didn't pull a tailgater game if you're a professional ballpark in Texas, I feel like you should be able to get a tailgater game in. And look, there's business things I'm overlooking at where I don't know about. Fargo, by the way, has a game coming in.
Too, by the way.
Yes, thank you. There's complications, of course, but I would be thinking along the lines of, man, like, let's do something crazy. Let's have the teams in town. Let's have, like, I know you're going to take over the clubhouse. We'll work something out for a weekend and do something crazy. A double ticket. If I'm an any-ball team hosting, if you walk in the door for a banana ball game, you're getting tickets in your hand for our game. Like, even if, I know I just started with the do a double weekend where they're both home and it's complicated. It's a disaster and probably banana ball wouldn't like it, but I'm not on that. Moving on from that, free ticket for any other game this year coming back here. You're already willing to come here once. Here's a free ticket to come back again.
Ryan has now not only pissed off the front office people by talking banana ball, he is now pissing off the clubbies and grounds crew just talking banana ball.
Man, if they're going to bring that many people, you should try to play ball in front of them one way or another.
The clubbies
get them exposed to your product. Get them exposed to your product. You talk about, oh, banana ball's not baseball. Well, then do anything you can to put real baseball in front of them and see if you hook. If you're going to be talking about that talk, might as well be about it. Lincoln, by the way. I'm sorry if you mentioned already. You mentioned a lot of cities, and my brain just
I ran through all of them.
I know, but I feel like I didn't hear a couple of them, and I realized no, my brain just isn't good at retaining information sometimes.
Yeah, I gave my thoughts on banana ball last week, so I won't rehash them. But I find it kind of interesting that the leagues that do have an announced schedule have a total of 3, I believe.
And again, I see a lot of negativity about them, and I understand some of it. But also, if you take it as, how about this? The UFC doesn't sweat the WWE. You can coexist and you can be just fine. You can share fans, you can have separate fans. It's okay. However, the UFC can learn a hell of a lot from the way the WWE markets. And in the same way, banana ball has learned a lot from the way baseball does things, and baseball can learn a lot from banana ball. So what I'm encouraging you to do, not as players, but as front office people who I know happen to listen to this because we're all sickos, is like really take a look. Like if this banana ball is near you, don't be like, no, go see it. And roll your eyes and say it's cringy or whatever. But like, don't look at even the field. You can turn your back to the field the whole time. It's fine. But look at how they interact with fans. Look at how they do little things and ask yourself, why are people willing to pay and drive so far to come to this? And what can we learn? That's all. It's an opportunity. If they're coming to your city, there's a huge opportunity. So passionate about that. I just need people. I need indie ball doing things that are different and creative.
There's a little bit of that, I'm sure, at some point. Maybe in one organization in particular.
Party animals for sure. I know enough. The party animals get down, bro. If you're down to party, if the party animals come around, bro, if you are able to stick around post game and hang with the boys. They're crazy.
So we are going to go to the Southern Maryland GM bit now.
Yes, sir.
Thoughts on that?
What are your thoughts on that?
I gave mine last week. Take this.
I was hoping I beat you. It's an improvement.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here. I mean, there are we hear a lot. We hear things from everybody in every organization practically. Between two of us, probably from every organization. And it's just at a certain point, there's people who get in there and it's not that hiring them and having them start there's a bad idea. It's that at a certain point it's run its course and now there's a lack of production and it's time to move along, just like on the field sometimes. And I think that was the situation there. I mean, new ownership came in. I think it was written on the wall probably. Wouldn't be surprised if she wasn't surprised.
Yeah, and I think whenever you see an ownership change and there's not, some indisputable track record, they're going to get their people in. That's just how that goes. Only people that are spared are the people that cannot be moved, or the people that are so low on the totem it doesn't make a difference if they are moved or not. But as for the actual hire,
yeah,
I think it's a good decision.
I think so. Yeah.
Younger blood, not tainted.
Sounds bad. Some of the things that did stand out to me, I'm not just talking about her, talking about him, would be, High Point is, okay. I mean, look, so he's doing baseball operations. So the issue will always be, what is a GM in indie ball, right? Yeah. And maybe with this new ownership group, it is something more baseball operations forward, which Southern Maryland needs. Good God, do they need it? The GM at other teams sometimes is purely business focused. The fact that, he kind of made a move more toward baseball operations with High Point while he was there as assistant GM, it makes me think that this is more of an operations baseball side role. And I would hope so, because if I'm honest, I like Pete Fish. I think he's interesting and fascinating, and I think he's got good ideas. But the Rockers still, too. Yes, he was friend of the pod, and I still don't think the Rockers are a successful organization. Nobody goes, dude. Like, at the end of the day, nobody goes, and that's hard to justify. So I'm hoping he's coming over as a baseball guy.
In fairness, that's the case for a lot of teams.
No, I agree, but High Point literally has the worst tenants in the league, don't they?
Like Gastonia beat him out.
Let me double check. And also, if Gastonia's on a team you're beating, you're last in the league. If your owner hasn't gone bankrupt in the past 2 years and you had to be sold, that's kind of my thing. Not to like overly dunk on High Point, it's just I do have concerns about them as an org. And to summarize, I feel better that this guy's coming over from the baseball side. And this isn't, again, I like the Rockers organization, but I worry, and I know they're a nonprofit, but I worry about them at times. I don't know what the game plan is there. It's a great town. I've been in that ballpark. I think it's really cool. It's gorgeous. They were third in average per game above Staten Island and Gastonia, which is a tallest midget situation.
Yeah, I do like Highball as the new high replacing Mitchell, though.
I agree. I think it's a step in the right direction. My assumption is he'll be coming into a baseball role, mostly, and they'll bring somebody in to do that, actual organization, like a COO type. That might be wrong. Maybe he wants to be doing more operation stuff, in which case I'm a little more worried. Because Southern Maryland needs somebody with some real experience and like some cutting edge marketing skill to reach the people down there.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the Crabs?
I said I had like a couple, then I talked for like 10 minutes. So sorry about that.
Okay. So we're good on that though.
Yeah, sure. As I continue to somehow make two different front offices that I'm not going to be welcome at.
We got some league awards. Atlantic League and Pioneer League will smack them together. You care about anything of interest here?
No. I should have my awards coming out this week, because I think I'm basically out from the last role I was interviewing for, and by interviewing I mean I was just really sort of like, hey man, you going to actually open that job up? And they went, I don't think so. So I'm looking forward to who they hire in 2 weeks.
I was going to say, I don't have any thoughts on the awards, so we'll keep moving there. One of the last piece of news from last week, Long Beach name finalists are in, just running through those again. Coast Cruisers, Grit, Groove, Parrots, and Regulators. Thoughts on those names?
Let me pull it again, because I did have thoughts. Don't do Regulators. That when I was talking about name changes in that video I'm potentially working on, Regulators came up and I quickly dug in and I was like, oh no, actually bad connotations. Don't do that. So if you're listening, which you're not, do not do Regulators. You could be in a headache, which literally ends in another like Mud Monsters situation, or no, Mud Monsters. I'm sorry to put that on you. Knockout situation, right? Was that them? New England?
Yeah.
What was their first one? Shout Aheads. That's what it was. Good God. Never forget. I think Grit is also weird, has weird connotation. Go Groove. Groove is cool. Long Beach Groove. That's sick. Long Beach Coast is going to be terrible for SEO. If you're listening to this in your Pioneer League's marketing, do not let them do that. Do not be Long Beach Coast.
Long Beach Cruises could be cool.
Cruisers potentially, but also could have weird SEO. Also, Pioneer League still hasn't like officially announced anything. Furious. I'm the one having to tell people from Rocky Mountain that they don't have a team. What are we doing? Allegedly. Hasn't been confirmed, I guess, but like, cause we're waiting on the league. People from their front office have told me.
Okay. Yeah, I did like a whole bit on that before.
I know, I'm not going to try to go over, but it's still bothering me. Also, credit to Long Beach for some of the names that they've used over the years, by the way. Sorry, good luck working that in. Armada, Barracuda. Long Beach franchise is dumb, but Riptide's a banger. Long Beach Groove is the official answer on this. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Like other than the groove, like don't do the rest of them.
Okay. Thoughts on Fargo signing Kenny Rogers, the gambler, coming in, and George Samus 3-year extension. I think we could summarize the extension very quickly with the good call. He won back-to-back championships, even if he had some mid-ass seasons in there.
Yeah, fair. And I think, yeah, I mean, nothing really out. I mean, Samus has gotten a lot done with at times a little. I mean, it's not that they're a team that doesn't invest, but like, I think he's gotten as much as possible out of the rosters he's had. And that's not to, defame the rosters at all. I think at times he's got a very good roster for him. At times it's a little more of a struggle with injuries or whatever else, and he's still getting the maximum out. And the dude won championships, so that'll do.
Yeah.
In the end.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Now over to Fargo Moorhead, and they're signing okay, this is going to be a tough one. Tucupita Marcano?
Yeah, Tucupita Marcano.
Okay.
Yeah, so about it.
Yeah, more
I
or
got
less
no problem.
Yeah, I'm fine with the sign. Just the background on it is he was betting on baseball, including games that involved his team, but not necessarily games he was playing in. And he lost, what does the article say here? Article linked in the show notes, by the way. I think it said 96%. Yeah, 96% of the bets they placed.
Yeah, not only is he a bad bettor, he's also not, I don't feel a very good player.
Yeah.
So I don't think this will be super relevant. He had a really good stint in Venezuela recently. I'm sure that's what's getting their attention. He's a guy who really puts up numbers at like the double and triple A level, so it could translate well to Indie Bowl now that I'm thinking about it. But like he's had some weird time off. I don't know. We'll see how well it translates. He could be a key contributor. I just don't think it's much of a conversation. He's either going to be an above average player or he's not. Any ceiling's above average. And he's not going to win any big awards because nobody's going to reward him for that in the league. They don't want that headline, I don't think. And frankly, I mean, it's fine. Whatever. He made bad decisions. I mean,
here's the thing. I have
complicated feelings on some of it.
Here's the thing. I kind of look at it. It's no worse than New England signed the guy that kind of, quit on his team halfway through the year. The 3rd round pick. His name. The catcher.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yeah. So same boat there. They didn't do anything inherently wrong. They just did things that you shouldn't be doing, if that makes sense. They didn't do anything criminal. It's just, you don't do that in the realm of sport. And they have guys vouching for him. I think it said Fernandez and Boskin in the article. And they're vouching for him good. And I mean, realistically, from a baseball perspective, if he's on the suspended list permanently with a lifetime ban, then he's not going to get picked up unless he's going to go to Mexico. So odds are, if he works out, you got a hell of a player for like 50, 60 games minimum.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, you could cut bait and there's no harm, no foul. I just find it more interesting that a team in an MLB partner league, because that means something, signs a guy that MLB suspended.
Oh, and you've now got me on a couple tracks. Derek Bender, first of all, shout out. New England had a great season this year. Would not be surprised to see Derek Bender pop back in affiliated ball once the heat is cooled on him. Okay, a few things. First of all, yes, a player, while they say they're partners, whatever, a player who is on a suspended list for MLB is completely eligible. That also includes during a lockout. Any locked out player is eligible to play in indie ball. Last I checked by the paperwork, last I saw the union paperwork, and that was 6 months ago I got that passed my way. I don't know that they will. We'll say a lot about leagues based on what they try to do. I've said the story before on here multiple times. We tried to bring in guys during the lockout in 2021, and we were told from above that we would not be doing that, and that is all I will say on that. That said, as a federal labor law issue, fascinating MLB, but another time. To Marcano. Marcano, I maybe dismiss him a little bit because he struggled so badly at the major league level. He's fine. He will be probably a good pickup. Here's what I'll encourage people. This is not, because the thing is, how do we feel on this, right? There are abusers in Major League Baseball. So they get another opportunity. Does this guy not? I get why he doesn't in Major League Baseball where they can bet on the games. Frankly, I could see why Marcano wouldn't get picked up by Mexico because they can bet on their games. I'd be very cautious about it. I think there's obviously vulnerability there, but if we're going to talk about the vulnerability involved, I think it's worth flagging to people just so they understand fully, and this isn't excusing anything, but before, if you want to go to the game and give them a hard time, or you want to talk about them, I will point out things are complicated. He's from Venezuela. Getting from Venezuela to anywhere typically requires a lot of handshakes, and there's cash in some of the handshakes, and the camps that these teams have set up are often very complicated. The relationships to get anywhere out of Venezuela is difficult and desperate. And you have a lot of family who could use money, and you have a lot of people who you might owe money to that you never thought you'd owe money to. Yasiel Puig is a very interesting example, even though he's a checkered past as well. I would encourage people to be open-minded to the fact that this does not appear to be Ipe with a gambling addiction, and he can't help but gamble on the games. It seemed potentially to be maybe someone else was involved, or maybe he was just betting on his own and being a stupid kid, because it's worth talking about the fact that he's also 23 at the time. Like, let's be open to the fact that he might be just a guy who wants to make a living playing ball. And this is a young Venezuelan kid is the path, and he's getting an opportunity here. There's a lot of times when we see a guy get picked up by one of these teams and we go, yikes. Do you need to win that bad? Odubel Herrera? On the other side, sometimes it is a second chance, right? And I'm not saying that's what this is, but be open to it, I would say. I think as indie ball, as an industry and as a thing that we are in this weird corner, if nothing else, we can bring to the baseball world an open mind, because that's what we would ask of the baseball world when they come to see us. Not to get too high-minded on this.
I would agree with that. I think the point of him being, 23, 24 in a foreign country, that incurred a great debt to get out of the country he was in, also that's a live perspective on it. Yeah.
I mean, he could suck as a player or a person. I don't know the guy. But I've talked to enough people and enough, honestly, Venezuelan ball players to know it is never that simple. So let's just see. We're not saying, again, the number of things with certain players who have had physical issues and disputes with other human beings, where now we have to excuse and see from their angle why they did something to the physical body of a human being. This is a lapse in judgment. It seemingly did not hurt anybody directly. Let's all take a breath and be okay with it. I'm glad to see there's no outrage right now. And let's just if anybody does get outraged about it, maybe tell them let's just see. And if this goes wrong, you'll have plenty of time to be outraged. Don't worry. You'll have your moment. Do it.
Yep.
But there you go.
Yeah.
Very cool bit of feedback from Ryan on that one.
So I think that's just about everything we got for the week.
Look at us. What should we talk about next week? News, duh. But like, do we have a topic?
We gotta start coming up with some.
Okay.
And I gotta start booking interviews and stuff too.
We're gonna do league reviews.
We should probably start doing those too.
We should just do them and then they're done. We talk about doing them like before the next year starts, and we hate that. That doesn't go well. So maybe we do that. Maybe I'm working on a league review thing, so it's already got me picking through schedules. So how about this for a little preview for people then? Yeah. Perhaps we'll do a preview of a league. We won't tell you which one. Too bad. But I can bring sort of a like ebb and flow through the year because I'm already working on something like that if you would like, and you can decide the topics you want to hit on.
All right. That sounds good.
Bringing something to the table? Ryan, you don't.
Look at him. Being productive. It only took, 2 years?
Shut up. Hate this place. This podcast is a prison.
You keep going back.
How many of these episodes have I done? Can you give me an updated count? Where's the leaderboard at? Work on that for next week. Bring that next week.
I thought I could just bring it right now. To be honest with you, but
why don't you don't do that? You got work.
I don't care. Why don't you do plugs while I figure this out?
Indie Ball Nation, I think I'm about to go off my hiatus of posting because I think, as I said, I'm not really worried about, offending anybody with anything I say. Not that anything crazy is coming out, but we'll be doing awards first. And then I have a video coming out. Probably the next one, I think, will be about the Lincoln Salt Dogs and some the chaos that happened with them, the Houston Apollos. Those who know. And those who don't, you're in for a good time. I'm really happy with how this video came together. If you were involved in those teams and you want to have a little feedback, there's still time to get in. But yeah, those are probably the next two big projects. Do I have a third one lined up? I don't think I did yet. I'm halfway done on about 3 things. So I'm not sure which one I'm going to pull the trigger on fully, but, keep an eye on it. But yeah, got, probably this week I should have at least one team, maybe one league of awards done, maybe more. It just depends how fast I want to post them. So Indie Ball Nation, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, whatever though.
Okay, I just have to check one thing. I'll have an answer.
Pod platforms. I had a bunch of time to fill here.
Formally, yeah, now you know what I go through.
Fair.
Formally, right? I started crediting you as a co-host, not a guest host, on 232.
And
since then, there's only been 2 solo episodes. So that's essentially for taking, we're talking about 108, not including the bonus episodes from which I'd have to count. Probably about 4 or 5 of those would be my guess.
I must have missed my bottle of champagne for episode 100. That hurts.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
So are we going by co-host then? We're not going as guest?
We could include that if we want.
That's up to you. Yeah, hey man, you just said how this works. As long as I get to send absolutely the worst DM you've ever seen to a couple absolutely innocent co-hosts once I pass them. Although I think I already passed one.
You did pass one. I think 225 would be considered the first one where you kind of become a regular guest host. So if we're going off of that, you're approaching 120. Probably around 125 we include bonus.
Wow.
And I'd have to scroll for a minute to find. Oh God, I forgot I did the Roman numerals for the first 100 of these.
Oh, that's right, you did. Ew.
I thought it was fun for a minute. I would be episode number 72 to about 250, I think.
I lied. I know what we're doing next week.
200 and...
Attendance pod, baby. Billy, take the week off.
God. Yeah, 220 was Will's last one. He started 72. So you are actually rapidly closing in on him. Rapidly.
Somebody, Will's not listening to this, so somebody get Will to listen to this. Will, suck. Will's been nothing but nice to me.
He's going to personally fly up here from Houston to get your ass.
good luck. You're going to have to fly into Philly when you're never going to get out of there.
Fly to Newark and drive.
Ew. Just fly to Baltimore. Maybe.
Yeah, all right. Either way, you could listen to all these idiots and me still, because I never leave. I choose to stay here. Isn't that wild? At Indie Ball Pod on Twitter and Indie Ball Report everywhere else. And yeah, I guess attendance pod next week, then some league reviews, and then a slew of interviews, and we'll find some creative off-season project that will linger for a while and then result in nothing. Fun, I know. But until we get to that point, don't forget to play ball.